There's a specific moment when you stop being broke, and it's not what most people think. It's not when you get a raise, land a new job, or hit a certain income level. You stop being broke the moment you have enough saved to break the paycheck to paycheck cycle, usually around $5,000 to $10,000 in the bank. This is the moment when financial emergencies stop being disasters and start being inconveniences. When your car breaks down, you pay to fix it without panic. When you lose your job, you have breathing room to find the right opportunity instead of taking the first offer out of desperation. Everything changes. The stress lifts, your decisions improve, your confidence grows, and the trajectory of your life shifts permanently. I'm Kyle, and today I'm breaking down exactly what happens when you stop being broke. The psychological transformation, the practical changes, the new opportunities that unlock, and how to make sure you never go back. If you're still broke or recently escaped, this will show you what's possible. Let's dive in. The first thing that happens is the anxiety disappears. When you're broke, there's a constant low-level stress in the background of your life. You're always worried about bills, emergencies, and whether you'll make it to the next paycheck. Every unexpected expense, a medical bill, a car repair, a broken appliance, triggers panic. You're in survival mode, constantly reactive, and it's exhausting. But when you stop being broke and have $5,000, $10,000 saved, that anxiety evaporates. You're no longer one disaster away from ruin. If something breaks, you handle it. If an emergency happens, you're covered. This mental shift is profound. Your nervous system calms down, you sleep better, you think clearer. You're no longer making decisions from fear, you're making them from clarity. This psychological relief is worth more than the money itself. Broke people live in fight or flight mode constantly. When you stop being broke, you exit that state and enter a place of calm control. The second change is the time horizons expand. When you're broke, you think in days or weeks. How do I make it to Friday? How do I pay rent next month? Your entire focus is short-term survival. But when you stop being broke, you start thinking in months and years. You can plan a vacation 6 months out. You can think about career moves that take time to pay off. You can invest in skills or education that won't generate income immediately, but will compound long-term. This shift from short-term survival to long-term strategy is what separates broke thinking from wealth-building thinking. Broke people optimize for today. People who've escaped being broke optimize for the future. This expanded time horizon allows you to make better decisions, take smarter risks, and build toward goals that were invisible when you were just trying to survive. The third change is that decision quality improves exponentially. When you're broke, you make desperate decisions. You take the first job offer even if it's terrible. You borrow money at predatory rates. You sacrifice long-term value for short-term relief. You're constantly reacting instead of choosing. But when you stop being broke, you gain leverage. You can negotiate harder at work because you're not desperate to keep the job. You can wait for the right opportunity instead of settling. You can say no to bad deals because you're not cornered. This optionality compounds over time. Better decisions lead to better outcomes, which lead to more resources, which lead to even better decisions. The person who's no longer broke isn't smarter, they just have the luxury of choosing instead of surviving. And that luxury changes everything. The sixth change is that compounding becomes possible. When you're broke, every dollar goes to survival, rent, food, bills. There's nothing left to save or invest. You're running in place financially, earning and spending at the same rate with no progress. But when you stop being broke, you create margin. You're earning more than you're spending, and that surplus can be invested. Even $100 or $200 per month consistently invested compounds into tens of thousands over a decade. This is the unlock. Broke people can't access compounding because they have no surplus. People who've escaped being broke can deploy capital, and over time, that capital works for them. The gap between those two groups widens exponentially every year. One group is stuck, the other is building wealth on autopilot. The moment you stop being broke is the moment you gain access to the most powerful wealth-building tool in existence, time and compounding. The sixth change is identity shifts. When you're broke, broke becomes part of your identity. You think, I'm a broke person, or I can't afford that, or money isn't for people like me. This identity is limiting and self-reinforcing. But when you stop being broke, that identity shatters. You've proven to yourself that you can build savings, manage money, and create stability. You're no longer a broke person, you're someone who was broke and escaped. That's a completely different identity. It's empowering, it builds confidence, and it changes how you see yourself and what you believe is possible. You start thinking, if I can save $10,000, I can save $50,000. If I can do that, I can reach $100,000. The identity shift from broke to builder is what allows people to keep climbing. Most people stay broke because they believe they are broke. When you stop being broke, you break that belief. The seventh change is relationship dynamics shift. When you're broke, money stress bleeds into relationships. You fight about bills. You resent people who seem wealthier. You avoid social situations because you can't afford them. Money becomes a source of conflict and shame. But when you stop being broke, relationships improve. You're not stressed about money, so you're more present. You can contribute to shared expenses without resentment. You can help friends or family in small ways. You're no longer isolated by financial scarcity. This doesn't mean you become everyone's ATM. It means money stops being a barrier to connection. You can go to dinner without anxiety. You can travel with friends. You can participate in life instead of sitting on the sidelines. The social benefits of stopping being broke are underrated, but life-changing.
The seventh change is health improves. Financial stress destroys health. It causes insomnia, high blood pressure, anxiety, depression, and chronic illness. When you're broke, you're constantly in survival mode, which floods your body with cortisol and keeps your nervous system activated. Over time, this wears you down. But when you stop being broke, the stress lifts and your body recovers. You sleep better, your energy returns, you can afford healthier food, you can pay for preventive health care instead of waiting until things get critical. The connection between financial stability and physical health is direct and undeniable. Broke people age faster, get sicker more often, and die younger, not because they're lazy, but because chronic financial stress is toxic. Stopping being broke isn't just financial, it's a health intervention. The eighth change is opportunities become visible. When you're broke, you're blind to opportunities because you're focused on survival. You don't see investment deals, career pivots, or side hustles because you're just trying to make rent. But when you stop being broke, opportunities appear everywhere. A friend mentions a business idea. A job posting catches your eye. An investment opportunity comes across your feed. You notice these because you're no longer in panic mode. You're in growth mode. You also have the resources to act on opportunities. If someone says, I'm looking for a partner to invest $5,000 in this, you can do it. Broke people hear opportunities but can't act. People who've stopped being broke can act, and that access compounds into wealth faster than salary alone ever could. Here's how to stop being broke if you're still there. First, track every dollar you spend for 1 month. Most people have no idea where money goes. Second, identify and cut one non-essential expense: subscriptions, dining out, impulse purchases. Third, create a $1,000 emergency fund as fast as possible. Fourth, increase income. Negotiate a raise, switch jobs, start a side hustle. Fifth, automate savings so $100 to $200 leaves your account every payday. Sixth, live on less than you earn, no matter what. Seventh, avoid new debt at all costs. Eighth, once you have $1,000, push to $5,000, then $10,000. Ninth, invest surplus once you hit $5,000 so compounding begins. 10th, refuse to go back. Treat being broke as a permanent exit, not a cycle. These steps work. They're not easy, but they work. The difference between broke and not being broke is discipline, not luck. The people who successfully stop being broke and never go back share one trait. They refuse to normalize being broke. They treat financial instability as an emergency that requires intense, focused action. They cut expenses aggressively. They increase income relentlessly. They save every dollar they can. They don't make excuses, they don't blame circumstances, they take full responsibility and execute. Most people stay broke because they accept it as normal. This is just how life is. I'll never get ahead. The system is rigged. These beliefs are self-fulfilling. The people who escape reject those beliefs entirely. They know being broke is a choice. Not always an easy choice, but a choice nonetheless. They choose differently. They work harder, spend less, and build margin. And once they escape, they guard that margin fiercely because they never want to go back. At the core, stopping being broke is the most important financial milestone you'll ever reach. It's the moment when survival ends and building begins, when anxiety lifts and clarity returns, when compounding becomes possible and identity shifts, when opportunities appear and decisions improve. The difference between being broke and not being broke is the difference between drowning and swimming. Start today. If you're broke, commit to building your first $1,000 emergency fund this month. Cut one expense, add one income stream, save every dollar you can. Track your progress daily. Celebrate $100, then $500, then $1,000. And when you hit $5,000 to $10,000, protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. Tell me in the comments, are you still broke or have you escaped? And what's the one thing you'll do this week to move forward? Stopping being broke changes everything. Let's make it happen.